Shouldn't they be jumping at the chance to get Antonio Conte right now? And tell us a bit more why people need to pump the brakes on all the talk of Zinedine Zidane too.
Jumping for Conte, I'm not so sure. I think they should consider him, of course, but there's also a lot of arguments that is this a squad that is good for him, that suits him, that fits him and his philosophy, his tactics as well, you know, the back three. What happens to Mason Greenwood, to Jadon Sancho? Not that Sancho is any good this season, but still. What happened to Marcus Rashford as well? So I think there's a lot of question mark over his style of football and Manchester United. But in terms of winning mentality, in terms of coaching a team, actually, which is something that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't do, that works. But he's also quite a toxic manager to have. And the Glazers, as we know, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because he's the complete opposite in terms of personality to what Antonio Conte is. And maybe that could scare you a bit. For Zinedine Zidane, he's not keen on the job. He's never really been keen on coming to England, whether that was as a player or as a manager before. He's got his eyes on the France job that could likely be available after the 2022 World Cup, so in just over a year, maybe after 2024 Euros in Germany, but still very likely to be in just a year's time. So why would you take a job now, especially this kind of job? A club in crisis, a team low on confidence, where you know it's going to be difficult, where you don't speak the language, where you know the environment is quite heavy on you with the tabloids and everything. I think Zidane sees it and go like, you know what? Let me enjoy my time off now. In a year's time, I take France with the Kylian Mbappe generation, and that's much better for me than coming to Old Trafford right now in this kind of environment and situation.
So that's a suggestion that Zinedine Zidane wouldn't want this job, but there are reports that Antonio Conte, Frank, would be happy to take a job like this. Isn't it just what they need, a proven winner and someone who'll demand the most out of his players?
I think he's a guy who can change the mentality of the dressing room. I think those players have been, how would I say that? Have been protected in a way by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, by the club, by everything. And as Sasha explained, you know, Shaka explained, sorry, about the fact that sometimes they win or they lose big time, but they cope with the situation and nobody wants to put Ole out. So the players are in the same situation where it seems to be that they're going to be hammered by the club, by the price, but because they have a reaction, everything goes right. But with Conte, I think everything's going to be different. They're going to be smashed in the face. They're going to be facing their mistakes and straight on the field, but also straight after the game. He's going to be behind them, making sure that they go to bed early, they work hard, they give 100% on the field. It's going to be a big change for them, and it might be for the good.
Stevie, back when you were playing, if Manchester United had been beaten 5-0 by Liverpool at Old Trafford, would the manager have lost his job afterwards?
I would have thought so, yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
So do you think that what should have been the outcome here, or is there more levels to it?
Listen, I think it's not just the fact that it was 5-0. If you're in charge, or if I'm in charge of Manchester United have to win trophies. And Ole hasn't won a trophy, and this is what, his third full season, and you get beat 5-0 at home, and you would keep talking about this project, how you're getting better. Well, it's 100 years since they lost 5-0 at home, so they're going the wrong way. So, you know, I don't think it's just one result, per se. I did start by saying if they lost 5-0 at home, you get the sack. But the truth is, there's a reason you lose 5-0 at home if you're Manchester United. It's because there are big problems with the whole place. Oh. So, yeah, they have to change. Nothing's going to change unless they make a change.
Something has to change, but Manchester United have made a point of, or at least trying to find a manager that fits with the culture of the club. And as much as Stevie's right in saying that Manchester United are about winning silverware, I think they want to respect the traditions of the club in winning silverware. And that was the big complaint around Jose Mourinho. And in all honesty, the complaints about the hiring of Jose Mourinho at the time is the same kind of feelings I have around Antonio Conte. Proven winner, yes, we know that. Record second to none. Will change the mentality within the dressing room. But then how does his personality clash with, for want of a better description, the personality of Manchester United as a football club? And now we could talk about Mourinho's time there and finishing second, which he says is the greatest accomplishment of his managerial career. Take that for what you want. But I don't think anybody looks back on that spell with any real great affection for Mourinho. And that's a challenge for the board in weighing up Antonio Conte. Is he the fit? And if he's not, who is? And who's available? And right now, and we just had the list up, there aren't many people who are available. And that's a challenge for them. So they find themselves between this rock and this hard place about what do we want? What is needed in the short term to get us back on track so that we can be winning silverware in the way that we traditionally do.
And you talk about managers not being available, and the name that I'm going to say now, Jules, is definitely not available, but we know that he has been a target for Manchester United in the past. Mauricio Pochettino, could you ever see that happening?
Right now, you mean?
Well, right now, if it's to not go well for him at PSG.
No, I don't think PSG will sack him. Certainly not in the near future, anytime soon. I do think that he would have been perfect for United, but the problem I have is that he was perfect 3 years ago. He would have been perfect 2 years ago. He would have been perfect a year ago when he was not at PSG, and yet they gave a permanent contract to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They renewed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last summer, for example, when Pochettino has been waiting for all that time, pretty much, since his departure from Spurs, even when he was at Spurs, waiting for United to say, you know what, you're the right guy because you tick all the boxes. And if there's one guy right now, more than Conte, more than Zidane, certainly more than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that ticks all the boxes at United, it is him. It is Poch. But the problem is, it's too late now. It's too long. Yeah, it might happen in the future, but it's not going to happen this season. I don't believe PSG unless something really dramatic happens in the Champions League, for example, or whatever. But they're not going to get rid of him now. He signed a new deal in the summer to stay longer at PSG. There's something, it's taking him longer than I thought he would to get this team working and playing well in Paris. But we have to give him a bit more time to see that he can do it. But it's a real shame, I think, because for me, United and Pochettino were a perfect match. And yet, for different reasons that we need a full show to discuss, the Glazers never really believed in him.
So if you look at that list, Ten Hag's your man.
Yeah.
You know, you've had coaches who will demand the whole club, not just the players, but the board and the owners, directors. You've had that already with Mourinho, so you're scared of getting that with Conte. So you bring in a guy who's a nice guy but doesn't coach. So the next step is you bring in a guy who's a nice guy but does coach. And on that list, it's Ten Hag.
And he's the least favourite on that list.
You know what I like as well, but
There's your answer.
I think Brendan Rodgers is a good fit, but for the Liverpool connection.
Right.
But Brendan Rodgers certainly has shown himself to be an incredible football manager, especially in this league. And it makes sense. You talk about Ten Hag, Ajax still in the Champions League. Ajax going fantastically well in the Champions League, sitting top of the Eredivisie, just beat PSV 5. Why does he leave before Ajax are out of this competition? Ooh. You know, so now all of a sudden we're talking through to next summer, quite possibly. Maybe you can convince Brendan Rodgers, but then how does that sit with your fan base, the Liverpool link, etc.? Maybe there's enough time between Liverpool and Brendan Rodgers now, but for all the reasons that Jules just pointed out, Man U have found themselves in a real pickle.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.